tonight we are going to make a recipe for spaghetti squash. The total time from initial preparation to sit down and eating is going to be about 1 hour. We can take a closer look at the ingredients and follow the process. The first thing we're going to do is take the spaghetti squash and put it in the oven for about 15 minutes, about 350, just to soften it up. After 15 minutes, we're going to be able to slice this in half and do some more cooking. Taking a closer look at our ingredients, we have some Parmesan cheese, we have some garlic, a shallot, a tomato, mushrooms, white mushrooms, obviously the spaghetti squash itself. We're going to be using some olive oil, salt, pepper, basil leaves, and crushed red peppers. All right, here we have our chopped up ingredients: tomatoes, onions, garlic, and mushrooms. What we're going to do is saute them in a pan for maybe 3 to 4 minutes, get them all mixed together, melding the flavors, and at the same time we are going to be cutting the squash in half. And after we do that, we'll be taking out the seeds and pulling the spaghetti squash out. So let's take a look at part of that process. Cutting the spaghetti squash in half is probably one of the most challenging aspects of this meal, because even after cooking for a few minutes, they remain relatively hard. So you can do that very carefully using an incredibly sharp cooking knife. But once they do get cut in half, they split pretty quickly. See here? I think I've got it. And you'll notice we have spaghetti squash, and this particular one doesn't have very many seeds, but we're going to be taking those seeds out with a fork. Pulling out the seeds. Now, if the spaghetti squash comes out and you find out that it's still too hard inside, you can take the two halves and boil them in a pot of water for another 15 minutes. But what you're looking for is the point where the spaghetti in the squash is actually soft enough for you to pull it out easily with a fork or a spoon. Here you can see what that looks like. Now we're going to take out all of that material and put it all into a separate bowl. The name spaghetti squash is appropriate because, as you can see, it actually looks like spaghetti. Okay, now we are going ahead and sauteing garlic, diced onions, mushrooms, and we'll add the tomatoes.
Ready?
Now what we're going to do is mix our spaghetti squash with our sauteed ingredients in this casserole dish. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. And we'll go ahead and mix in the sauteed ingredients. Get all the juices. And then we will go ahead and add some of our flavorings, to include a little bit of black pepper, not too much. We're going to put in some basil leaves. bit of salt, sea salt in this case, and sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan cheese on now. We can do a little bit more later when it comes out of the oven, if you don't get quite enough. And we stir everything together in the casserole dish. It's looking and smelling good already. And we'll add a touch of crushed red pepper flakes for a little bit of zest. Okay, everything goes in the oven now for approximately 15 minutes. Now we have our spaghetti squash casserole out of the oven, ready to serve and eat and enjoy.